You stood on the shoulders of geniuses to accomplish something as fast as you could, and before you even knew you had, you patented it and packaged it and slapped it on a plastic lunchbox, and now you're selling. You're going to sell it.
Last episode, we talked about Steven Spielberg's work with George Lucas on the Indiana Jones franchise. After helping to birth the high-concept summer blockbuster, can we get a definition of that? High-concept films are made for as wide an audience as possible, big budget, and generally based around an easy-to-understand question or premise that makes it easy to sell to audiences. Thanks, Forrest. Ow, my finger. Wait, why do you need my blood to do a podcast intro? Into existence, Spielberg became known for creating big-budget projects with large casts and often stunning visual effects. Tonight, we'll be talking about Spielberg's most ambitious project yet, 1993's Jurassic Park. When Raiders of the Lost Ark came out, the blue screen was a form of film technology that was just being tried out. The final scene, most known for the Nazi face melting in Raiders of the Lost Ark, made use of that technology. A little over a decade later, CGI and green screen technology had improved by leaps and bounds. With Jurassic Park, Spielberg aimed to explore this technology to the very limits. In 1933, audiences were horrified and excited by the movie King Kong, where Fay Wray was kidnapped by a giant ape who carried her up the Empire State Building. Get out. A New York filmmaker, Carl Denham, charters a boat to bring his camera crew to Skull Island to make a wildlife film.
And now, before I tell you the full story of our voyage, I'm going to ask the gentlemen of the press to come forward, so that the audience may have the privilege of seeing them take the first photographs of Kong and his captors.
King Kong served as a warning, prescient at the time, about exploitation in filmmaking. Denham decides that just capturing King Kong on film isn't enough, and they render the giant ape unconscious and bring him to New York City to show him off as the eighth wonder of the world. Of course, King Kong breaks free and rampages through New York City. Spielberg sought to update a movie in the genre of King Kong for the 1990s. He found the perfect story with Michael Crichton's 1990 novel Jurassic Park. Michael Crichton had become a medical doctor before he realized that he loved writing. His novels like The Andromeda Strain, The Terminal Man, and Congo often involve science, viruses and diseases, and warnings about the limits of science and technology. Jurassic Park was the story of an amusement park which uses genetic engineering to bring back dinosaurs. The amusement park collapses, and the dinosaurs run amok, attacking people. Crichton wrote this as a way to explain chaos theory, the sensitive conditions of our world that can be easily disrupted, leading to huge, unforeseen consequences.
The shorthand is the butterfly effect. The butterfly can flap its wings and be king. In Central Park, you get rain instead of sunshine.
Why?
And then I go too fast. I go too fast. I did a flyby.
And really, what would bringing back dinosaurs be, if not the biggest disruption ever created? Crichton was inspired to write this by Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, a cautionary tale about humanity creating without knowing the consequences. Spielberg saw in the novel Jurassic Park the perfect way to update King Kong, as long as he could get the technology right.
I look at King Kong and I say, well, that is the state of the art. 1933 was the state of the art. In between 1933 and today, there have not been any real advancements in special effects photography where you have to create a creature that doesn't really exist anymore.
Like in Jaws 20 years before, Spielberg decided the best way would be animatronic dinosaurs with computer animators on to work on dinosaur motion. Of course, Spielberg had a lot of issues with the animatronic shark filming Jaws, and it almost ruined the film. Spielberg hired Stan Winston to create the giant animatronic dinosaurs, Phil Tippett to do the go-motion CGI, and Lucasfilm's Industrial Light and Magic to do the digital compositing. Like in King Kong, Jurassic Park is a story about exploitation and the profit-driven incentives that overwhelm moral and ethical considerations.
Oh, what's so great about Discovery? It's a violent, penetrative act that scars what explores what you call discovery. I call the rape of the natural world.
One thing I've always found ironic is that Spielberg mocks the merchandising obsession of the 1980s and 1990s, and then snugly fit the Jurassic Park franchise within that craze, even creating a Jurassic Park The Ride water park along with the movie at Universal Studios.
But Yogurt, what is this place? What is it that you do here? Merchandising.
Of course, without the ethical concerns of an actual Jurassic Park, the Dinosaurs.
It was just a delay. That's all it is. All major theme parks had delays. When they opened Disneyland in 1956, nothing worked. Yeah, but John, if the Pirates of the Caribbean breaks down, the pirates don't eat the tourists.
I can't wait anymore.
The movie even mocks the Disneyland Pirates of the Caribbean ride, the last ride personally constructed by Walt Disney. Disney would later base the franchise off the ride to further monetize it. Richard Attenborough plays the theme park owner, John Hammond, who is rushing to create the park without thinking through practical and ethical considerations. He is, for all intents and purposes, the Dr. Frankenstein of the story. Sam Neill and Laura Dern join as Alan Grant and Ellie Sattler, the top paleontologists, in Sattler's case paleobiologists, in their field.
They're moving in herds. They do move in herds.
Jeff Goldblum is the Michael Crichton stand-in, the mathematician Ian Malcolm, who's an expert in chaos theory.
Now eventually you do plan to have dinosaurs on your dinosaur tour, right? Hello?
Spielberg and Crichton create a compelling warning about man playing God in the face of evolution.
God creates dinosaurs. God destroys dinosaurs. God creates man. Man destroys God. Man creates dinosaurs.
Dinosaurs eat man. Woman inherits the earth.
Anyway, before I introduce the panel, let me say, please like this video and subscribe to the Movie Night Extravaganza YouTube channel. Also, we are now monetized, so if you have any pressing questions during this live show, send us a super chat. We are absolutely obligated by international law, human rights law, to answer it. We also have a Patreon, patreon.com/Movie Night Extra. All of our after parties are available on there forever. Okay, let me introduce the panel. J. Andrew World, illustrator, book cover artist, comic designer, and artist for Give Them an Argument, co-host of Movie Night Extravaganza and Bad Takes. Conan Neutron, co-host of Movie Night Extravaganza, host of Protonic Reversal, and frontman for Conan Neutron and the Secret Friends. Christina Oakes, when she's not dog-sitting, you can find her streaming on Twitch at twitch.tv/cosmopolitics. You can find her on Twitter and Instagram at @cosmopolitics. Throw her some subs on Twitch. Aaron Casias and Carly Gomez host Hit Factory, which is a podcast about the film and politics of the 1990s, which makes them the perfect guests for tonight. I, of course, am your host, Forrest Miller, Wandering Ronin of the podcast panel and Samurai of the clip cutting school. Without further ado, let's get started.
Let's go, dinos. Let's go.
Yo, you could see the homie Bill Pullman up there in the intro. Yeah.
Aaron, welcome back. It's been a bit.
It has been a bit. Thank you, Conan, for the welcome. The rest of the panel here as well. Great to see you all. Excited
Always nice
to
to
talk
have you
about. it is always nice to be here, and you all are always so accommodating to our request for time over here on the weird West Coast. So thank you for that.
You did a earlier episode, I think, at Hit Factory about Jurassic Park, if I remember correctly, right?
You are correct. I think it was actually our third episode ever.
Yeah.
So gosh, that must have been back in July of 2020. And yeah, it was a weird time. It's still a weird time, but at that point, it was kind of, we were sort of at the apex of COVID anxiety and uncertainty, and it was actually
a different natural phenomenon running wild.
Correct. Well, and funny enough, when we recorded that episode, it was about 3 days removed from the announcement that Disneyland was going to reopen its parks. So it was a fun little real life kind of allegorical parable and moral there as well to talk about.
Do you remember the first day Disney opened? I think there was that woman running around without a mask, and it was captured on film. She had just had a meltdown in the park. I think she was some kind of propagandist. I don't think this was just a spontaneous meltdown. Right. But I seem to remember the day that happened, this obnoxious, very Florida looking woman brought a camera into Disneyland and was like, "I'm not wearing my mask in here or getting vaxxed," and because they were just talking about the vaccines starting to roll out later that year, you know what I mean? So she's
right.
I wonder what she's doing now.
Subtly.
Yeah.
She died on the way back to her home planet. Hey, can I just give a shout out to the lush vegetation that we're broadcasting from? Apologies to podcast listeners, you can't see it, but this has to be one of my favorite resting backgrounds. When we don't have the larger panels, I feel like we don't get to take advantage of the background so much. But this is perfect for this movie.
Well,
hold on, Conan. I mean, this vegetation, it's beautiful. You picked it for that very reason, but it is poisonous. You didn't know this. You didn't study it. You didn't bother to learn what it was before you put it in here. You're playing God a bit.
But none of it is in our poop, so we're okay.
No, I remember being a kid watching Jurassic Park and being like, I could go there. You don't internalize yo, this is horrifying as much as you're yo, dinosaurs are there. So this background is a shout out to me being a kid and thinking that. And I was yo, I can finally go to Jurassic Park on StreamYard.
well, friend of the show and former guest of the show, Ross Hurt from Rigs of Dad, who also Ian Miller is on that show, has been on multiple times as well. They actually have a thing on their show that they don't do it all the time, where they ask a series of questions. And one of them is, would you go to Jurassic Park if it was real? I think that's a good question. And I'm like, hell yes, I would. I'm in. Let's go.
There's rogue employees,
I think it depends on the point you're at, right? If you're feeling you got nothing to lose, which is most of us most of the time, then yes. If things are starting to go your way and you're you're starting to make some money, you have a good job, things are getting better, then no, you don't go to Jurassic Park.
Well, but here's what I would say. Here, let me qualify what I just said.
Okay.
I just saw something on the BBC News, some smaller passenger plane went down in India, right? Horrible disaster, somebody was killed, etc. Except plane. That's a riff on the
plot of Plane.
Yeah, exactly. That's how I now say the word plane, because I think it's a dumb freaking name for a movie. But
it's kind of plain, don't you think?
All right. So the but think about how many planes go down, how many planes fly every day. So therefore, all of these movies, it seems like there's 12 of them. I only really acknowledge this one, frankly. You got to think that if there was an actual functioning Jurassic Park that didn't just implode immediately, nature didn't find a way. Thank you, Jackson. Then you're looking statistically as the fact that you could just see some damn dinos and be all right. But I would absolutely go either way. And I would go with the expectation that one of these movies would be happening around me and be okay with it. But I would go. But that's how much I like dinosaurs. So.
Yeah. I mean, when it became Jurassic World, and I know we're not talking about the sequels, but when it became Jurassic World, Irfan Khan's billionaire guy, whatever his name is in that movie, I don't remember, they had a couple good years of operation before they got overzealous and made that whatever the hell the name of that dinosaur was.
Yeah, the Tyrannosaurus Rex Velociraptor combo. Is that what it was? I might remember that.
Yeah,
I tried to
that
block
one.
that movie from my memory.
What is it?
I mean, they also have like if they're selling you on going to Jurassic Park, right? Like they have the enzyme backdoor that they could just deprive dinosaurs of their enzyme for a while. If you could find a safe room, you could just kind of wait it out. But then of course, fucking you get like megalomaniac billionaires that are like, I'm not gonna do that. I want to keep these dinosaurs alive, and then like next thing you know,
I want to weaponize them. Yeah, I mean, that was actually one of the only things I liked about that film was that I was like, oh yeah, of course.
Personally, if I was in the world of Jurassic Park, I'd have dinosaur ISIS, but that's just me.
So one of the things I like about this film is that none of that nonsense is there. It's very simple. It's a simple setup. It's a simple execution. It's much like Sorcerer in that way, right? You can tell like what it is in the synopsis. You're like you know whether you're into it or not. Which is Wages of Fear too.
Which is the high concept thing, right? Like I want to kind of come back to this because like high concept films, Spielberg is like kind of the master at that, kind of like almost like the grandfather of that kind of film. And high concept films, you're just supposed to look at the synopsis, like Jaws, shark in the water,
killer shark in the water.
Yeah,
all right.
With Jurassic Park, you know what I mean? Like park full of dinosaurs, things go wrong. Like you're supposed to look at a Spielberg film, like at least these type of like summer blockbuster style Spielberg films. You're supposed to just look at it and say like, oh, like okay, I know what's gonna happen in this, and it's as wide an audience as possible, watching this. Whether or not there's like more of a deeper message to it, like the
and contextually there wasn't anything like this at the time. That's another thing to remember about this original movie. Is there wasn't like a dinosaur movie cottage industry at all. Like it was not a thing. In fact, when this came out, people were like, "Oh, well, Last Action Hero is going to be the big one. That's going to be the big movie this year." It wasn't. Spoiler alert. Not that it's even necessarily a bad movie. It just was not like the huge hit. But this was a worldwide hit because it was something where it's not only a well-made film and an entertaining film to see, and a blockbuster. It's actually a good movie, which that does happen, but there really hadn't been dinosaurs in this way on the big screen ever. Yeah. And it's done by the guy that puts all the biggest, coolest, big stuff on the screen, right? Awesome.
He had a really good team. Stan Winston, we stand.
Phil Tippett.
Phil Tippett as well.
Phil Tippett, the man God himself.
I mean, when you get those two together, between them, you've got what? You've got Aliens, you've got Predator, you've got The Thing, RoboCop, Starship Troopers.
It's like all my favorite movies in a row.
Yeah,
it's great.
It's nuts. It's just an incredible effects team. It's like it really is lightning in a bottle.
They don't do it anymore like they used to, Well, I mean, Stan Winston's no longer with us, but like there's just not really a good like creative team out there that can actually make something special with such a director like Spielberg anymore, it seems.
Well, they can. They're just not calling Philip.
Yeah, well, I mean, they're doing their own things with CGI and like the big budget stuff, and then Tippett's doing stuff like Mad God.
Which is great. I mean,
and also
wow, it's great.
Jim Henson Workshop still does stuff, but not like they used to. I mean,
Marvel needs to take a hit.
I would put them up there with Sin and Tippett. The Jim Henson Workshop. So
one of my closest friends, real quick for us, one of my closest friends as a kid went to the Henson School, and he actually just posted a thing of. In the parking lot of his apartment complex, trying out like his gigantic like Jabberwocky looking monster. I don't know what it is. Doesn't matter. Anyway, it's just he's that neighbor, basically. Like where we were like, what's this guy up to now, right? But it's wonderful. It's amazing, and he's perfect at it. Like he's so good. But it's like. I was like, oh yeah, but if this had happened like when we were kids instead, you could actually probably make a living doing this instead of just doing it for like a burlesque show or whatever. I mean, no harm, no foul, like, whatever. I'm just saying that like that kind of demand isn't there in the world. Okay, that's what I wanted to say. I just want to get in prop for Dave. Creature Theater.
Towards the end of his life, and I think still had just a school that he was trying to teach people how to do this to create more practical effects kind of stuff. So there's a whole YouTube channel where it's just videos of the practical effects that they did for things, and so like they literally had every dinosaur on there pretty much that was in this movie. But this is a video that I found of them building the full-size T-Rex and like explaining what went into that.
Nice. It's just an incredible undertaking, really. When I think back on it, that we actually managed to pull this off. There was so much ingenuity. Everybody really pulled together and really made this work. There's the miniature that Rich did, and the armature, and then the full-size armature in the background. I believe those are the legs as well that you see, the tall pieces. So we're just about to get ready here and place the bulkheads on.
We were actually using techniques that were developed, hundreds and hundreds of years ago by sculptors of large bronzes and such. There's the 5th scale painted, and that was our guide and our gauge for the reconstruction, because what we had to do is reconstruct the sculpture from scratch.
And Stan would come in on a regular basis and say, okay, I want to be sure that I've got room for the nostrils, I've got room for the eyes. Are you sure this spacing is correct? And that would not only mathematically prove on paper that it was correct, but then I had to also have to satisfy him artistically. And we would adjust little things like how much the belly would hang or how much the tail would droop. And some things weren't exactly the same as the original plan structure, but we changed it so that the artist liked it, because it's the artist's eye that always decided what the final product was. There it stands.
Now a process of chicken wire and fiberglass is laid over the chassis of the creature's body. This is to give the clay something to stick to without going right through the wire, because at some point the weight would just push through. Respirators, doors are open. Okay, now many weeks later in this process, the first layers of clay are just being sort of drafted into place. This takes many days, and this is Roma clay. This is not a sulfur-free clay. This is Roma clay. I think it's a number 2 or number 3 medium clay. And those are gauge sticks. Those sticks that you see in there are gauges of thickness for the calculation of skin and where bones may go. What we had to do was we would take the 5th scale little castings and using the measurements recreate everything. Mike Tursick was in charge of sculpting the head predominantly.
My focus was the head and neck area. I wanted to make sure that I could keep that as accurate as possible. By this time, I knew the sculpture pretty intimately, because I'd done the 5th scale and the small scale, and here we are on the big one. So basically, everybody, if they had a sculpting question, they ran to me and for answers.
It was somebody's job every morning to cut clay from the packages and put pallets of clay in the oven on the other side of the building early in the morning to heat it up so that the clay was warm. This whole process from start to finish took 16 weeks to complete.
It's amazing.
That's so fucking cool, man.
It's art, man. It is straight up art.
It's crazy they build a small like replica one, you know what I mean, to get it like right, and then the big one. Like there's just two fucking T-Rexes in this fucking warehouse. Like
I mean that's how they do like action figures, how they do how they make like lots of different things, and it's always kind of fascinating to watch this because like the casting, the clay, the firing,
but there's like a difference between an action figure and like a 10-foot 16-foot tall fucking T-Rex, dude.
Well, yeah. But I mean,
like
like the action figure sculpts are also kind of interesting to see. Like Randy Bowen's workshop, for example, who does like statues that you can buy as collectibles, are absolutely fascinating to watch. Those get made as well.
Yeah. Well, and like that animatronic that they built from that T-Rex was no fucking joke either. Like I've seen interviews with Winston that like there were several, like I think several thousand pounds of pressure that like when the T-Rex turned its head, like if you were in the contact zone with it, like it would flatten you. Like you'd be in the hospital if not dead if like it managed to hit you. So like that thing was they made a real monster basically.
Right.
It's really fucking cool.
Nobody asked if they should.
Mark the time, 24 minutes.
Yeah, well, I mean, and as like a kid, like I would go to the like the Natural History Museum all the time, where you'd have like the full size, T-Rex and stuff like that. And like this movie is kind of the first movie that it feels like kind of tried to create that scale and base it off of obviously like museum versions of a T-Rex, like base it off of illustrations of a full-size skeleton that different paleontologists have found. Interestingly, same basis for the I think skeleton in King Kong when there was a T-Rex, and for this movie, but obviously very different results because the technology was wildly different.
Yeah, I mean, like the kind of thing you see a skeleton of something that big, it's got to make you wonder, right? And then for years and years and years, the people were left to wonder about it, but not really see a depiction on the screen that wasn't Godzilla. And peace and love, I love Godzilla, especially the original and a few other entries. But like, it's not the same. It's a creature of fantasy versus something like it's something crazier when it's like, no, these things walk the earth, just like the banner that like sails down at the end of the lobby, which is. Amazing scene, by the way.
Chef's kiss. Yeah, I mean, you forget that about this movie, and I mean, there are, a bevy of flaws with every single one of the sequels after this. I like The Lost World. We can talk about that later if we want to, but I actually think it's very good. I think it's a much better Spielberg movie than people give it credit for. But like you can only do that kind of wondrous curtain reveal one time, right?
Yeah.
And so like that moment when they look out into the field and there's the brachiosaur and the herd of all the other dinosaurs behind them, like we also as an audience were seeing dinosaurs on a screen with that level of like verisimilitude for the very first time. There is that wonder and awe and spectacle to it, and it's breathtaking. I remember being in the theater for this one and like seeing that and feeling the rumbling in my seat and thinking like this is a real dinosaur. I'm watching something real happen here in front of me.
Yeah.
I was lucky enough to actually see it in the theater when it came out before any of the hype that came out too, and I didn't realize how lucky I was at the time because I just was like, oh, I love dinosaurs. That was the only reason.
And I was a kid.
The only reason why.
I was probably a little bit too young to see it. I was 3 going on 4 when I saw it, but I obsessed with it, loved it. But I remember distinctly going into the theater and a manager or representative from the theater that I was at with my mom and dad coming in and introducing the movie and basically saying, "You're about to see something really special."
Wow.
It's he's like, I've already had it was opening weekend. He's like, I've already had a chance to see it. It's incredible. You'll love it. He said, but there's also along with the visuals, there's a revolutionary kind of sound technology that this is utilizing.
Oh, that's right.
And
yeah.
he's like, and so throughout the movie, you're gonna feel the walls shake, and you're probably gonna feel your seat rumble. That is okay.
Which
Don't
is
be
something
alarmed.
they did in the 90s.
Don't
Enjoy.
flee the theater because the dinosaurs have come to life. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And I knew I was
you
about
got
to see
people
something
jumping out of their
special.
seats like the Great Train Robbery when the train goes at the screen and people are like, "Oh shit!" Train car."
Because remember, they took all that stuff out to charge you more money for tickets.
That's right.
Which is just capitalism.
So 4 days ago, this dropped. How extinct animals could be brought back from the dead. Updating an article from last year that I had read from NPR. This is BBC, but from NPR, I think that was like woolly mammoth could be brought back from the dead. Scientists say, and it's the exact same process that they're talking about.
It's like they've never seen a movie before. Could somebody show these scientists a movie of any kind, please? Horror, sci-fi, anything, any genre. Really, comedy will do.
Well, the good
Christ.
news is in Russia, so maybe
I don't mind
maybe
a
that
woolly
Ukrainian war
mammoth
could
being
finally
brought back to
end.
life. To be honest, I'd rather woolly mammoth than a dinosaur or something like that.
They defrosted some weird worms today. I saw that where it's like some crazy looking fluorescent worm, and apparently it just started moving and started eating something. Like great. That's wonderful.
I saw that X-Files episode. That's not going to end well.
And everyone's like, "Hey, isn't this awesome?" Like, no, it isn't.
And I
what
mean,
does your containment procedure look like?
In late capitalism, the amount of time from the cloning of a woolly mammoth to the time that we will be able to purchase mammoth steak in our local supermarket
Trump
is very
mammoth
short.
steak.
It's very short. Like I can't imagine. Like, we're just gonna start making them so we can eat them. There's not gonna be the wonder, the spectacle. It's not gonna be like a zoo. It's gonna be like, how do we use this as like a new food source for?
Yo, I think you
know.
get like
that
a
reminds
month-
me, we need to cover Oksha, which is what Bong
Yeah.
movie that I
But-
like very much. So we've not covered on the show.
But no, I think there's a month of like majesty, right? Like there's a month of like, wow, we've truly did it, and then it's like,
I wonder how they taste.
Like what is the like pork chop or like the steak from this taste like? Like
Yeah. Russian poachers are gonna get it in like 2 weeks.
They're gonna have a no mammoth hunting like order or whatever, and then you're still gonna see like a bunch of mammoth meat on the black market. You're like, are they not stopping people from doing this?
They're going to debut it to the world, and they're just going to cut to Putin, and he's just having a mammoth steak right there.
That's gonna be the final frontier in his war against Ukraine. Is he is going to just drop mammoths down into the fucking Ukrainian like
It's cheaper to drop mammoths and bombs. Yeah,
I mean, if he can,
catapulting them. Sorry,
if he can channel like, the Battle of Carthage and ride a mammoth shirtless, onto the front lines, who could stop him?
Good callback.
Like Hannibal himself.
That's an extreme callback, actually. Yeah.
Yeah.
Can we talk about the actors, the cast in this?
I was gonna say, I was actually
There's actors in
Christina.
this movie?
I was gonna.
It's
throw
just
it to
dinosaurs,
you
right?
Yeah.
To say that, like, please rescue us from this increasingly silly situation that we put.
Well, okay, so like I like Joe Mazzello who played Tim Murphy. I thought he was really like, even when I was younger, I was like, this kid's cute. But the kid actors don't sound like adults. Like there's just a problem with Macaulay Culkin's acting in Home Alone. It's not really good acting.
Sounds like just a little person that is.
But these kids actually
40-year-old
seem
dude.
like kids who are interested in dinosaurs.
And the one,
It's the writing too. It's the writing of the script, because like Home Alone was written by like an old guy always trying to write for kids.
Yeah.
I like the almost like neurodivergent obsession with dinosaurs that the kid has, where he's like, I've read everything and I'm 6 years old and I have a bunch of questions about it. And can I? And
Sam
like,
McNeil's like,
and
who does not like kids at all, which is endearing.
I love that he doesn't like kids. Like that's like you don't see that enough in movies.
but
where
spoiler
someone's just
alert,
like-
people who haven't seen the movie, something changes.
He has an arc, which is different than the book. In the book, it's really funny. It's like literally verbatim. Like in there, it says something like, Alan Grant always loved children and their like wide-eyed curiosity about dinosaurs. It's like on like page like 45 of the book.
I was going to mention if anybody's actually read the book, because I saw the movie first, then read the book. But yeah, I like that Crichton, and I like Andromeda's Strain. Those are the two there.
Yeah, and shout out to Chip Kidd for that gorgeous cover.
I mean, Crichton passed away when he did. I have to wonder what his fucking climate change takes to be at this point. Like he was going in front of like the last couple years of his life, he was going in front of the Senate being like, climate science doesn't exist. Like I have to wonder, would he have changed his mind about that at this point? Or they had, I don't know why he was the one that went to a Senate hearing to talk about like the same time Inconvenient Truth came out. Like he was the one, like why not talk to scientists? Like why talk to an author that
Because it's more fun to have the guy that wrote Westworld on.
Yeah. People believe him as some sort of authority on science. But if we're talking about actors, I mean,
which ostensibly we are, yes.
We are ostensibly. The usual ones, of course, like Sam Neill, terrific. Laura Dern, wonderful.
I think baby though.
She's the best kind of Nepo baby though. Like, and I think this is like one of my favorite of her roles in her entire career. I think this is like the best she's ever looked as well. And Jeff Goldblum, of course, like transcendent, like brings Ian Malcolm to life as like a rock star mathematician. I cannot see anyone else doing that role.
All right, so I have I guess like the Bobby Wynant Jeff Goldblum interview.
Oh God!
Fantastic.
It's
friend of the show, Bobby Wynant. Amazing.
It's terrific, and I think it's. I hope the sound's good enough. I tried to bump it up because it was really low, but I think it's everything you would expect from Jeff Goldblum talking to our good friend Bobby.
I honestly cannot wait for this.
This is going to be so good.
Yes.
All right. So, Jeff, how are you this morning?
I'm very well, Bobby. How are you?
I'm great. What are you pleased with the reaction you're getting to the picture?
So far, only some press people and a few friends have seen it, but they're like knocked out. People are like, "Oh, this is the biggest thing, and it's the best thing." And I've never been to a movie like this. I screamed my head off, and I never make noise in a movie, but and the person next to me was grabbing me, and it's great. It's fun.
How do you think this is going to change children's perception of dinosaurs? Because kids think the dinosaurs are Barney, and now they're going to find out these are bad guys, mean guys.
I know. Well, some of them, the movie is a combination of these wondrous type dinosaurs that just eat plants and they can kind of pet them, and they're these enormous things, and then there are these other dinosaurs, Tyrannosaurus Rex, who are just more than any animal, I guess, on the planet now, are the most fearsome, big, dangerous, teeth-chewing, people-eating things in the world. I think they'll be scared. It's scary, but it's thrilling scary. But a lot of kids know real dinosaurs anyway. Aren't they kind of fascinated with learning the names and things of dinosaurs? And they know that some of them are dangerous and scary.
Give me your reaction the first time you saw one of the creatures.
Well, we were shooting in Hawaii for the first 2 weeks of shooting. I think the third day, we shoot this scene where people will see it. There's a sick triceratops. It's one of those ones with kind of a hood and kind of a horn. I hadn't visited the shop where they made these things, and Stan Winston made these like life-size real dinosaurs. And I came upon the shooting, and there's this kind of hill outdoors, and there was this dinosaur, and the people operating it, because it's like a puppet that like 15 people are operating, one the breathing, one the blinking, one the tongue, are hidden. They're like in a bunker. So I see this dinosaur. I was shocked. And you can see it in the movie and it looks real, but then I went up to it and it was real to touch, and it's a totally real dinosaur. It's amazing.
Were you ever frightened working in a scene with them because something could go wrong and, could get hurt?
That's true. And there were some mechanical dinosaurs that weighed tons, and big life-size Tyrannosaurus Rex with teeth that had to be kind of right there. But there's never been a movie that I've worked on where the safety has been as well handled as this before. Every scene and shot, there'd be a meeting and they'd say, these are the concerns and this is what not to do. So I was not literally afraid for a second. I knew they were beautifully handled, but trying to play the imaginary circumstance, I was trying to play like there wasn't a movie going on, like this thing is really there, and I managed to get scared. Yeah.
Your character has the funny lines in the movie.
Yes.
Do you have a favorite funny line from the film?
Let's see. People seem to like when John Hammond, played by Richard Attenborough, says, "Oh, come on, I think it's still okay. Disneyland, after all, had some problems when it first opened." I say, "Yeah, but John, if the Pirates of the Caribbean breaks down, the pirates don't eat the tourists."
One of the best lines.
Maybe they should.
And of course, I'm goofing on Bobby invoking Barney at the time too. But again, let's remember where we're at.
She also says dinosaurs are mean guys, bad guys. It's very trope like
bad dudes, bad hombres.
Yeah.
But in 1992,
their best.
They're not. 1992, Barney was not only huge but new, very new in the zeitgeist, and like that's when people thought of dinosaurs. They had thought of that. Is that? I think you need to slap the mic again.
There we go. Sorry.
She's got a touch activated mic.
Slap of the mic.
It's like, but yeah, Barney was my dude growing when I was a kid. I was born in '93, so like I had all the Barney videos.
Oh yeah.
I also had all the
I think
Barney was the
homie.
homie.
Videos like.
I would love to see Jurassic Park, but they replace all of the dinosaurs with Barney characters. Like
there is a Jurassic
Baby
Park
Bop
where they replace it with the house
Oh
cat,
my God,
and the
Baby
house cat's
Bop.
great.
Oh man, I need
Yeah.
to watch Barney again.
But everything else in the movie is the same, including murderous intent.
Yeah, no. I mean, it's the same movie, but it's Barney characters.
Just
like,
Barney
That's
characters.
great. Yeah. They could replace a movie with Muppets. That thing. Anyway, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say Goldblum doesn't cite my favorite moment when he's on the
he's
helicopter. Well, that's a great part too. That's very sexy.
That's less of a part and more of a vibe, and it's through most of the movie.
And
I've been injured. Let me just
just
what I do.
and he's kind of sitting back with it's open. It's very good. He's nice and glistening. When he's on the helicopter and he's like, "So you two dig up dinosaurs?" And they say, "We try to." And his response is something like, it's very good. His little laugh is wonderful. There's like a DJ remix of it on YouTube that you can find. It's worth your time.
Okay.
That rules.
He really, I mean, he does it in the best possible way, but he really hams it up in this movie, like full Goldblum. Like this, this is like,
Pete Goldblum. When you think of Jeff Goldblum, you think of Jurassic Park, like.
And it's because I think of the scene where he says the rape of the natural world, and like I mean, obviously everybody quotes the just because they could, but you never thought to stop and think if you should, like that line. But like that
because it keeps needing to be said over and over again as people do things they shouldn't do. Thank you. Go ahead.
But that entire back and forth, right, where he's going after like Hammond's character or whatever, and he says like what you guys call discovery, I call the rape of the natural world, and he has that smirk, like that Goldblum smirk on his face, like he is eating up the fucking room at that point.
Yeah,
he's got panache.
He's incredible. It's so good.
He's got charisma.
Oh man, charisma. Can I talk really briefly about one of my favorite characters and performers in here who I think it's undersung? It's British actor Bob Peck, who plays the big game hunter Robert Muldoon.
Yeah, clever girl. That guy.
Clever girl. Yeah, he is a fantastic actor. He was in a Martin Campbell miniseries that he did before he started doing his kind of 90s output of like James Bond and Mask of Zorro and all that cool shit. But the last couple times I've watched it, I've just kind of honed in on him, and he's doing such good work. And his character's great. Like he's not in the movie very much, but he's very special. And he passed away in like 1999, not long like after this movie came out. But he was a really, really phenomenal actor, and I love him in this movie, especially his kind of banter with Wayne Knight and Samuel L. Jackson.
Yeah, Samuel L. Jackson's in this film too. Some people are
as
like,
many
really?
times have I seen this. Yeah, like when I rewatched it for the first time, like probably I seen it probably.
Motherfucker.
I've probably seen it like 6 or 7 times in the last 2 years, but the first of those I was like, "Oh yeah, Samuel Jackson is in this."
He's chain smoking. Like he spends the entire movie fucking chain smoking in the computer room, and like I don't know, there's just something so badass about like fucking Samuel Jackson with like half a fucking cigarette that's like ashing all over the place, like ashing onto the computer. The keyboard as he's trying to figure it out, like just like, yeah, dude, go for it, Samuel L. Jackson. Like,
and this movie is so great that its depiction of computer systems, which do not look like 8-bit video games with line art, by the way, is completely excusable. Like it's
completely evolved.
Also, and also works. Right. That's not how you do. That's how like asteroids works. Like, what are you looking at? Like, is this tank? Like, what's happening? Tank.
I also love when the kids are in the car and they put in the CD and they're like an interactive CD-ROM, and I feel like that's
I know. I'm like, oh my god, so much has changed in like 30. Oh god,
that was high tech
30
business.
Years. This movie's been out. Oh no, I'm gonna be 30 this year.
It's so special though, because it's like you said, Conan, like none of that technology stuff like trips you up. This movie feels like pretty timeless, and even when they're like freaking out about like a Unix system that is literally just her like basically looking at your file folders like on a desktop.
And I have to say, those driverless cars are a lot more safe than anything Elon Musk has ever made.
Excellent point. Yeah.
See, Elon Musk,
but you excuse it. You move past it. It isn't like a deal breaker. Like, all right, I like the movie Hackers, but Hackers suffers from the same thing of just the technology of the time, right? Where if you can't get past it, I get it. For me, it's like, it's fine. Like, whatever. It's kind of hilarious, but it's goofy. And, and there's always like there's a website called Tech Typing. I think it's techtyping.com. And you can literally just like, type on a keyboard and like a bunch of like random gobbledygook that appears every time someone's hacking the mainframe or whatever in a movie happens. And it's one of the best sights I've ever seen, and I've gotten like lots of laugh out of it. But this is one of the movies that's it's like a tech typing movie, right? Because the little girl who is awesome. At the time, a lot of people found her very annoying. I think it's a very natural response for a child to be put in this situation to react exactly this way. So I thought those people were obnoxious, but she shows extreme value because remember, if she's mocked over and over again by her brother, oh, you're always on the computer. You're always messing around with the computer. And it's like, oh, yeah, well, who's laughing now, motherfucker? Like, I'm getting the doors back locked up.
Yeah.
The kids did have a purpose in the film, is what.
They did.
Like, people are like, why? I'm like, trust me, these kids are actually very important. They're actually needed, like, to save the world.
More than
okay,
just, more than just like good character development for fucking Alan Grant to like, feel like, oh, maybe I could have a kid with Laura Dern. Like,
and they're not.
Even though she's like 30 years younger than me, it's fine.
Yeah, I'm a dude,
She was
so
like
it's okay.
23 when this wasn't she like 23 when she did this film?
Sure was.
She was
in that neighborhood.
Like 27, 26 probably. And Sam Neill was
older.
Yeah.
We'll say older.
He's
sure.
old. He's getting closer to 40 for sure.
Because there was discourse about the age gap. I think Laura Dern's like, yeah, it might have been appropriate at the time.
Remember, Possession is out now on streaming, which it was not on streaming for a long time. Zlotowski's Possession, and he's in that, and that's like 81, and he was like an established actor then.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
and again, this is 2 years after, I think 2 years after Until the End of the World, which he was like an established actor. That was one of those kind of brought him back to people's attention to certain degrees of inventors.
I mean,
and obviously this one more so.
It's the second Spielberg movie we've watched in a row with a problematic age gap that exists within the movie, because at least she's not 15 and the daughter of Sam Neill's mentor or whatever in this.
Aaron
with
Raiders,
Karen Allen and
apparently she's meant to be 15 in the book, Bonnie was saying, and I'm like, ooh.
Yeah, I think that even like when they initially conceived of the script, they had her like even like a little bit younger. Like she was supposed to be kind of like a precocious, like late teens or 20-year-old kind of girl. And they're glad they struck it, but like there's some conversation where like, yeah, she was like 11 when she and Indy hooked up the first time. It's like, you guys, like no one in the room thought that was a bad thing. Yeah,
and he has a literal line where he's like, you knew what you were doing, you were like close enough to an adult, and it's like the younger that she is in that moment, the creepier that line is. Like,
yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
This is what happens. You don't let women in the writing room.
And now look, women are writing some of the most fantastic things ever.
Like Velma.
I'm not gonna name any, but
Barbie, maybe we'll see.
Yeah.
Greta doesn't miss. We'll see.
Yeah, so Stevie says Newman. So Wayne Knight had just joined Seinfeld a year before this movie came out.
Yeah.
And like obviously, has blown up in the number one, there's the meme that goes around all the time with whatever the fucking thing is that nobody cares about.
Nobody cares.
Yeah. So
that's my display name. Hit Factory. We got Hit Factory here.
See, nobody cares.
And I think that meme is gonna get real overused now that the fucking Republicans are taking the House, because there's so many like Hunter Biden's laptop. We got Hunter Biden's laptop here. Like,
it ain't gonna be about Hunter Biden's laptop. It's gonna be about his dick. Okay, like when those hearings happen, I'm live and streaming that shit on Twitch just to see if I get TOS. I'm like, I can't. It's the Capitol. It's all ages. We're allowed to see it. Leave me alone.
It's been a long time since we've had a dick to obsess on. There was Anthony Weiner. There's Bill Clinton. They're in withdrawals.
I was thinking about like Republicans in like 1987 with Reagan be like, Mr. Gorbachev, tear down the wall, and then it's like Republicans in 2023, and it's like, Hunter Biden, tear off those pants. We need to see that dick. Like.
Wayne Knight's great in this. I love the again talking about the non-real. Yeah, you like that, Andy? I just went nope. And moving on. As much I dissed on like the Unix system, right? When he has like his like hacker screen where it's like all timer.
Yeah.
And like just how pissed Samuel Jackson's character is about it too is
Oh,
doubly
man,
hilarious.
He's
Yeah.
the
so
classic
good.
annoying guy, right? Like,
Yeah.
Wayne Knight, I feel like is the classic, like the most annoying guy that knows that and is fully taking advantage of that. Whether that's as Newman and like just making Seinfeld's life a living hell and vice versa, or in this movie, putting that up on screen and like just kind of being a devious motherfucker the entire time for money, like which he wants money. Fucking Hammond's opening the park for that money. You have to imagine it's like a Charlie and the Chocolate Factory type situation where it's like another, like the guy that comes up to him and is like, oh, if you steal like an everlasting gobstopper, I'll make sure that because we're gonna make our own version of that. Like it's that situation, I think, that he's engaging in.
Absolutely. Yeah, except for with embryos instead. In a Barbasol can. By the way, that Barbasol can is like the hidden thing. One of the coolest MacGuffins I can think of from that era. Like I was obsessed with that. I'm like, whoa, that's awesome.
Yeah, because I started shaving right around that time, and I was excited because it was the same brand as Jurassic Park.
Right.
You open it, you're like, oh my god, embryos. I think I got the wrong shaving.
Picked the wrong one up. Should have gotten the Cool Whip one.
It's very cool.
Cool Breeze, whatever.
Yeah, Nedry's awesome.
I haven't used Barbasol in years. I use Edge. Sorry.
I use Barbasol now. I've never found one that has dinosaur embryos hiding in the bottom of it. So
do you look every time though? That's important.
I do look every single time, and I put a little bit on Carly's waffles as they pass by. She's walking. It's like, here you go.
How much of a bummer would that have been, by the way? Be like, ah!
But it's funny. It's just the nonchalance, right? He's like, he's so annoying. He's so grating. Like even to the guy who's about to pay him millions of dollars to commit corporate espionage, he like can't be serious. Can't be like serene in the moment. There's like, I don't know if you guys know this about this film, but there's like a very storied, like long list of continuity errors in it and just like bloopers. And I'm not a big like that shit doesn't bother me, but one of the ones that did trip me up when I was a kid is that when Nedry is stealing all of the dinosaur embryos, like 4 of the dinosaur names are misspelled.
Yeah.
Like on the little
Andy
vials
involved?
that he's pulling up.
Yeah.
I don't know. like they spell like Stegosaurus wrong. I like Parasaurolophus in there somewhere. I think is wrong. Pachycephalosaurus. Like they're like a couple of them are just like they're misspelled. They have like multiple like letters. Like it's just I don't know. I always remember seeing it and being like a 6-year-old dinosaur nerd and being like, this is really fucked up that you could do this, Steven Spielberg. Like someone should have checked this. I'm all right with it now.
Somebody's just
I've
sitting
moved
on the label maker and like they don't have access to like spell check, then
Yeah.
Oh,
I mean, come
Lord.
on.
Exactly.
Oh God.
I have to look up Neutron every single time.
Amazingly, yes, I'm sure you
Yeah.
do.
Speaking of Tim Murphy, Joe Mazzello, his next big role is
a
playing
Ben
Paul
Shapiro.
Begala.
Yes.
Yes.
Paul
Really?
Begala
In
in
what?
Impeachment, an American Crime Story.
Oh, isn't that already out? The one with Clive Owen and Beanie Feldstein and everybody? The Monica Lewinsky thing?
Yeah.
Is that? Oh no,
I
that
think
was
it
already out.
aired.
How come it says it's upcoming? I gotta
I
look.
don't
I
know.
gotta watch that then because I'm like Paul Begala.
Oh, sweet Paul
Yeah.
Begala. Paul Begala is like the one guy in the entire like Clinton ghoul factory that like genuinely I think believed
nice.
that Bill Clinton like didn't have an affair, like didn't cheat on
Yeah.
Hillary.
I've
Mazzello is a
watched
good
the
character
first.
for that.
I've watched the first 6 episodes of the American Crime Story Bill Clinton thing. It's all right. I mean, it's like it's not bad, but it's like it's just a scandal. You know what I mean? Like it's not like it has any deep insight into it. They're just kind of recreating it the same way they did kind of with. I feel like they put more into the O.J. Simpson one by a lot, like than they did into the Bill Clinton one.
Yeah. Yeah, that sounds right.
But yeah, Joe Mazzello, he doesn't. He was known for doing like a lot of stuff. Obviously, when he was a kid, but he's also most known for playing John Deacon in Bohemian Rhapsody. So like,
Mm-hmm.
Is
But
that
he
him
always-
for real? Oh,
yeah, because he
wow.
looks like him.
Ah.
He looks like John Deacon.
Oh.
Yeah, all he had to do was just.
He really nailed those shorts.
He's had a couple of like interesting like little like minor roles. He actually plays Dustin Moskovitz in
Yeah,
The Social
in The Social
Network. Yeah.
Mhm.
Really?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Stevie says, I think of Jurassic Park being run by the people from Tesla and therefore cease to be surprised by the spelling errors.
Yeah. Well, and then there's all the other stuff about it too. None of that surprises me. It's just like it's billionaire mindset, right? Like there's no way it's not going to get fucked up. You just like capitalism just exponentially grows. Your desire for the line to go up keeps pushing you past your limits, and then you wind up with, you know, a guy in your control room who's ready to commit corporate espionage and take down all the fences.
What do you guys think of like the clash between Hammond's like I want to make a park for everyone kind of like Walt Disney style thought process into this, and then the lawyer who's like, we could make a park for the super rich, which, you know what I say, because of what happened at Jurassic Park, I support the park for the super rich.
Yeah.
What could go wrong?
The thing about this, it's like a fire
Let's just
festival
send
type thing, right?
let's send like all of CPAC over there. Yeah, it'd be great.
Oh my god, Davos is meeting right now. Just have fucking Davos do their next, like, you know, whole summit over at fucking Jurassic Park, please.
No, I would watch that sequel. That is the sequel that I would watch.
Yeah, or just have mastodons just come crashing through the wall when they have it in Russia. You know, let's do this.
I'd love to see Ja Rule put into Jurassic Park somehow, like just like kind of inserted in there, like trying to sell the park, being like, listen, I'm one of the biggest investors in Jurassic Park. I think it's going to be excellent.
I think so. The precept of it, which is the having it be the populist available for everyone versus for the super rich, of course, I mean, that's very much the artifact of the time. This is the early '90s we're talking about, right? And Attenborough's Hammond is very much also an artifact of the time, but where we didn't have these like billionaires occupying every aspect of our culture and completely dominating it in such explicit ways. So the idea of their narratively being one that has like a moral code and like actually wants to do something for people, almost Kennedy wise, I guess you would say, right? Like it sort of like doesn't come from that class, but wants to bring it to them.
Yeah.
Artifact of its time.
It's interesting too, the way that like Spielberg imbues Hammond with a lot of like the sort of magisterial qualities that he would kind of maybe wants to possess as a creator as well. Because in the book, he's like a total like bloodsucker, right?
He's
like
kind of a jerk in the book.
He's a total asshole in the book. He's like completely just like rent seeking and like profit driven. And at the end, he gets his comeuppance in the book. Spoilers, sorry, but he gets like totally iced by a group of Compsognathus, like Peter Stormare's character does in the sequel. Well, because he like falls down a hill after a raptor attack, and even like as he's getting eaten alive, he's like, we'll do this better next time. Next time when we reopen the park, it's going to be better. And you kind of get the sense that like Spielberg kind of saw a little bit of himself in the like kind of idealistic idea of Hammond, you know, this person who wants to like create spectacle and give it to the masses and to be kind of heralded as this sort of, you know, person who, this tip of the spear kind of guy, this guy who ushers in like a new sort of vision. So,
and that's like his whole like brand, Spielberg's thing, you know.
Oh,
like,
big
think
time,
of like
yeah.
E.T., Close Encounters, like Jaws.
I think it's kind of fascinating though that like he's trying to ram it through without like any code, you know what I mean, like any because that's why they're building it in fucking Costa Rica. Like he's trying to ram it through without like government oversight, without like regulation, without any kind of code for investors that are like, oh, this might like, without any safety codes, without any like you know, like they have the basic fence set
There's
up.
no
like,
union for those dinosaur wranglers. Like why is there should be a union? They should totally unionize. I am totally
Dinosaur
for
Wranglers Local 785, exactly.
But like it's kind of fascinating, like his kind of populist vision at the same time clashing with like, hey, we have to get this done as fast as possible, because you could think like the general public is going to come there and get eaten alive by fucking dinosaurs, and obviously he doesn't think that's going to happen. But like you know, that's kind of the opposite of I think what his intentions are within that.
I mean, it's just like Elon Musk. I mean, people are getting eaten alive by his Teslas, and he just doesn't care. He's trying to present this fun, whimsical character online, and you know, he's just a reply guy.
Yeah, you have to wonder if he was kind of inspired by Jurassic Park type fare to be like this strange, like almost carnival-esque figure that like comes out of nowhere to be like, you know, I'm gonna change the world, and everyone's like, dude, like, and I'm too much of a genius for fucking safety regulations. Like he has that quality
Didn't he, like,
that
drop
Hammond
out of
seems to
college?
have too.
Okay, all right. Since we insist on turning back to Elon Musk, here's what I'll say is that like I think the idea of like him using not Elon Musk but Hammond in the movie using like non-union labor and stuff like that. Let's think about the fact that also like the groundbreaking science of there being dinosaurs around, the more people that know, the more chances it gets leaked as well. So from that perspective, yeah, that's understandable. Is unethical? Absolutely. I mean, I'm the son of a proud union electrician, so on and so on. I get it, but I think it's a little more excusable in this case.
So what you're saying is that there's no ethical dinosaur.
Maybe I would get to say it
in Jurassic Park.
There's no ethical dinosaur cloning under capitalism.
Was that where you're going with that?
No, it wasn't. But I'm a proud member of the Dinosaur Wranglers Local 193.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not just I guess it's not just the union protections and stuff for like just in general, like the overall disregard for any kind of safety, right? Like whether it's the guests that come through there or the workers, or because there's going to be a high accident rate in a fucking dinosaur. Like if you're cloning dinosaurs, no matter what, like we see a guy get dragged into the fucking cage within the first like 10 minutes of this fucking movie.
Right, exactly. Like we're not even open yet,
and that's kind of the inciting incident is like, hey, we heard that this guy got fucking ripped apart by a dinosaur, and like maybe we should have some people check it out and like see if this park is up to code. And then Hammond comes in and literally offers to fund their dig, right? Like to fund the Alan Grant and Ellie Sattler's dig.
Well, because it's not going to meet any sort of inspection standards, no matter how good it is, because there's no precedent for what he's done. Nothing. Yeah. And like instead of being regulated immediately, he just wants to get it going. And like what's the saying? Ask for forgiveness rather than for permission. That's the whole thing of what he's trying to do. And that's why he justifies having I forget the actor's name, but the Wrangler guy, the actor you're invoking earlier, Aaron. I can't remember.
Bob Peck, Muldoon.
Muldoon, thank you. That's why, like, his justification is, well, we got Muldoon, he'll sort it. That guy's awesome, but he's not coming at it from the perspective of someone that's nefarious about it. He just is being almost naive in his way because, again, the super rich never get. You don't surround yourself with people that say no when you're super rich, right?
and you see that within that scene where he's like, oh, I welcome all opinions, and then fucking Jeff Goldblum tears him a new one, and then except for like, hey, maybe we should actually study this, and he's like, you guys were supposed to be the ones on my side because he's funding their dig. Like he sees it as a monetary transaction almost. That they're at the table in the first place.
Like people forget that even though Jeff Goldblum's sort of Laura Dern, he's actually probably the smartest one of the bunch.
Well, he's the Michael Crichton stand-in. Like he's
yeah, exactly. But he's also here's a opinion. I don't think this movie works without him. I don't think it works without Jeff Goldblum specifically because he's got the swagger too. He's got the swagger and he's correct. Right?
He's the first mathematician that ever got laid and had like ex-wives.
That's true. Lots of ex-wives.
The only other person who could do it was Zizek, maybe. But it'd be a totally different film at that point.
Yeah, definitely.
What if you replace Jeff Goldblum with Slavoj Žižek? Yeah, different film.
I think it sounds a little something like this.
Little different.
Life finds a way,
and so on.
Aaron, what were you gonna say?
I didn't have anything specifically, but I was going to say, I guess in my mind, I was thinking as we were talking about this, that part of the reason that I like The Lost World so much is that it actually like leans into like the cynicism towards the corporate entities. Like Peter Ludlow, John Hammond's nephew in this, he's again, like one of these like totally profit driven guys who's like taking control of the company so that he can go to Isla Sorna, and get all these dinosaurs, bring them back, even more like King Kong than the original Jurassic Park in terms of premise. And yeah, it just like has a field day with that. It makes them so fucking venomous. It like, even like repurposes scenes from like Howard Hawks' Hatari about like these like big game like hunters like out like, capturing all these animals on the African plains. And yeah, it just makes them so awful. And it like gets that this thing doesn't stop. Right, like there's always like some new guy with too much money and no actual vision, but just like a completely like bereft of any sort of morality and like totally just like unafraid of facing any sort of consequences because he's never actually faced any serious ones. And just like I don't care how many people die, I don't care what this does. I want to make money. And yeah, I don't know. I appreciate The Lost World a lot. This is kind of the same attitude as embodied by like The Lawyer, but you don't really get it explored, right? Like you don't get. I've seen The Lost World like as a kid. I don't like it was long. I have it on VHS. I have the first 3 Jurassic Park movies on VHS that I got at
library fair somewhere.
Yeah,
But
oh, yeah.
but
Is it all in one tape in SLP mode?
no, it's the real ones, but they were
Yeah,
just like kind of beat
mine's
up.
probably are too.
I remember
You can put 3
the-
movies on one tape. Yeah, they look terrible.
I remember the Lost World VHS has a hologram on the cover of it. That
It's like
has,
it's like a silvery cover, and they tried to make it look extra cool, so you buy it in the store.
yeah, and when you turn it, it looks like a T-Rex smashes through the logo. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. So I have that in the shed. Like I have my my VHS tapes in the shed, all in like sealed boxes. So I didn't end up going out and like trying to find them, but for today because I was tired. But I also was gonna go into the shed and find I had this very large book that had illustrations of like every dinosaur, and like as a kid when I was like 6 or 7, like I memorized like as many as I possibly could, and it was like I'm gonna do this, and then I watched Jurassic Park as like a little kid, like as a kid, like I watched Jurassic Park way too young. I was like, this seems cool. I'd do this. I'd study these things. I'd go to Jurassic Park.
Again, that goes back to the Rigs of Dad podcast question. If Jurassic Park was real, would you go? Right? Because it shouldn't be just a snap answer of yes or no. But
it needs to be regulated heavily.
Send me in with all these sketchbooks, because I'm going to be drawing them dinosaurs.
You could see a version of Jurassic Park where Hammond has to go in front of like a Senate hearing. And like,
see, that's a cooler, so that's like a different type of sequel, right? When you think about like that's an Aliens versus Alien type of sequel where they kind of turn around and say Gremlins 2 versus Gremlins, where something you take what makes the original cool, but like flip it around in a new and interesting way, and that would be cool. They didn't make that movie though, ever. Any of these.
They do Senate hearings a little bit in the second Jurassic World film, if I remember correctly, the one that
that's the only one I haven't seen.
Which
and apparently
the only redeemable one of the 3 in the Jurassic World trilogy.
You get like Ted Cruz standing up being like, I hear the dinosaurs have pronouns at Jurassic Park.
Well, they are trans. We've established that.
Well, and we've got these all female M&Ms that are bugging out Tucker Carlson. So it's just
you got the peanut M&M. It's not trans in any way.
You got the new dinosaur, They-Themosaurus.
Can you just see Alex Jones though? Just like it's the frogs. The frogs are making the bell.
But okay, so that's still not enough to make me see the movie. Honestly, I don't know. Like I'm not like Andy. I won't watch things I know suck.
Fair
That's
enough.
me. It's my choice. It's my thing.
I would say
it's the only one that does something unique. It leans into like gothic horror elements at the end.
Ooh, I love gothic horror.
Look up the scene where the volcano's erupting, because that is one of the most beautifully shot dinosaur scenes you will ever see, and it is far superior than anything in that movie.
All right. Speaking of beautiful visuals, it's something that there's so much action in Jurassic Park that I think it's easy to forget about. That first tableau where you see like all of the brontosauruses just like grazing and like hanging out together, and then they go up in the trees.
They're in herds. They do go in herds.
And again, so I feel incredibly lucky because first time I saw it on the big screen, right? I saw it in the movie theater, and I think there's something. It's a really cool scene, even if you watch it on like some a phone or iPad, I'm sure too. But there's something about like seeing that and just being like, oh wow, like it gives you a sense of scope and scale that is so internalized that you may not think about it as the movie. Maybe you're thinking about the velociraptors, like opening the door and things along those lines, and you should, but that is just such an incredible visual, and that's like pure Spielberg, and uncut.
I think it's used in an amazing context, which is that they get onto the island. Of course, your first reaction as a paleontologist or a paleobiologist is to be like, whoa, fucking dinosaurs. Yeah, like they're exactly how I pictured them. Like their necks are, this amount of thing. And then he's like correcting it. It's like this big shiny object. And then within the next 20 minutes, they totally kind of deconstruct that. I mean, I don't know if the movie really like delves into it enough, but like, as they go through like now there's eggs that they're fucking cloning, you know what I mean? Like they assume that it's going to be, and then the chaos theory thing comes into play there. And then they're in the meeting and it's like, well, maybe we should study this a little bit. And he's like trying to ram it through. It's like, as that happens, like the initial like, whoa, like fucking dinosaurs are here. Like I like that you watch that fade away very quickly.
The part too that's great about it is you see everybody's reaction, except Laura Dern doesn't see it because she finds a leaf and she is so obsessed with that leaf. And then Sam Neill just reaches over and turns her head, and then you just see her slowly stand up, and it's just like that whole thing because you're not seeing anything yet, you're just seeing their reaction, and so you're like what is it, and it is so worth it because the effects really do hold up to this day. That scene where you finally get to see what that is. It's like when I was like when you read a great comic book where the pacing is just right, and you get that great page turn. It's just like that, and I always
big splash page. That'd be the
I mean, Dark Knight Returns is a great example of it. Where you get like all these small panels, and you're just racing through these panels, and then all of a sudden you turn the page. There's no words on that splash page, but it's Batman riding a fucking horse right at you, and you're like, "Fuck yeah, that's the dinosaurs in this movie." Is that page turn?
That reveal is one of the great cinematic scenes, right? I mean, if you think of like any award show, like like when they do a scene from Jurassic Park, what are they doing? They're either doing that or they're doing like the T-Rex with the eating the Velociraptor or something, which is also
or the water in the cup.
Yeah. Well, in retrospect, a lot of times they do the I mean, it's the same scene, but they do just the line like "Welcome to Jurassic Park," and it's like the camera moves out, which is I remember
but that sense of awe and wonder where I think what Andy was getting at, I don't want to put words in his mouth, but like where it's almost like Laura Dern is a stand-in for the audience to a certain degree, and like, oh shit, you're not going to believe what you were about to see.
They
all
are.
You're like, you're right. I don't believe it. Amazing.
And yeah.
So an element that we never really discussed in any situation that I kind of am always fascinated by because I took like film classes. I found something where it's the Foley artist explaining how they came up with some of the noises that you see the dinosaurs make, and that's an element of like
sound design in this
shit.
is freaking awesome. It's so
Yeah,
good.
we need a Foley artist on this show. Like not to do Foley work, but to talk to.
I had a really fun class where we did Foley art work. Like we came up with different things, and like we were in a recording studio, and we would just like play with a bunch of things. I still have like videos of me kind of trying stuff out. Like there was like a little thing that you could scratch your hand thing and make it look like make it sound like you're walking on snow. Like I mean, it wasn't like a high tech setup. It's like SUNY college. So, but I had a lot of fun doing that. So when I saw the Foley artist thing, I was like, hell yeah, I want to hear this.
I want to hear this. That has got to be the coolest freaking job on the face of the planet.
Yeah, I mean,
amazing.
I love that it's literally a cantaloupe though that she has in there.
I know, it's just like
yeah. This isn't a tangent, but if you've ever seen the movie,
this is about to be a crazy tangent.
Yeah. No, there's a fun Spielberg movie, Murderland, what is that called? I can't remember the name of it, but it's written by George Lucas. It's a Radioland Murders, and they have a Foley artist as one of the characters, and it's just wild because a good chunk of the movie is just showing the Foley artist stuff, and it looks like the funnest job in the world. And to top it off, they have Doc Brown himself playing the Foley artist of the movie. So it's even funner. He doesn't speak.
I mean, I guess there's some degree there's like blow up, right? There's like which has led to like recorded sound, and again, as we've established, one of Travolta's more interesting roles. But yeah, like that's what you find a point on, and that's a change topic immediately. But like, I do like how Hammond is like honestly parental almost to the dinosaurs, like has a deep affinity for them, and I think that characterization in shorthand tells you a lot about his character and why he does some of the things he does. And I'd forgotten about that until like a deeper rewatch rather than just like, oh, it's on and I'm checking it out. It's like, oh yeah, like he honestly seems like he thinks of them as his children. Like it's kind of crazy.
And though they never really like play out the whole the imprint on you kind of thing. Like they don't like. Because you could imagine like a version of this movie where like he steps out in front of the raptors to like be like to stop them or something, like thinking like, oh, I've imprinted on them, and then they just rip him to shreds. But
isn't that what Chris Pratt's character was supposed to do? I kind of blocked most of that movie from my memory, to be honest. Again, watch it on a plane. I wasn't that like the whole deal with why they respected him? Plane. That's how you pronounce that movie, by the way, Aaron. Is plane.
I mean, you want to claw at the screen and say plane. That movie, one, looks fantastic, and two, I love that title. I think it's phenomenal.
What? It got good reviews. What the fuck?
I
It's
think
a
it's-
Gerard
I think it's
Butler
a-
film. Every Gerard Butler film is the same.
Plane is what I'd
Good.
call. Plane is what I'd call my
Stellar
Osama bin
Page.
Laden. My Osama bin Laden biopic would be called Plane. But so the last thing I want to talk about before we go to like
Too soon. It's been over 20 years and too soon.
one-liners. I live in New York. It's fine. I can.
You can say it exactly.
So this is a clip that I guess it was the 30th anniversary. They did a bunch of stuff for they did a bunch of like a whole press run for a re-release. So this is Sam Neill talking about the bad reaction he got to his American accent, which is why I made the joke where it's like he's like they do move in herds. Like there's certain times I guess in this movie that he does not fully follow through on that accent.
Also, should he needed a beard?
I get a lot of flack to this day. Sam Neill's American accent in Jurassic Park was a load of T-Rex poo.
They're moving in herds. They do move in herds.
On day one, and it was the day we fried the kennel on the electric fence.
The day we fried the kid.
Yeah.
You wonder why he cast Sam Neill to play this role. It's so you.
Anyway, he came up to me halfway through the day and he said, "Hey Sam, you know the accent you were talking about?" I said, "Yeah, I've been working on it for 4 weeks or something." He said, "Don't worry about it. Just use your own voice." I said, "That's great, Stephen. Thank you so much." And then 4 days later, he came up to me and said, "You know that voice you're using now?" I said, "Yeah, my voice." He said, "Somewhere in between." God.
He definitely worked with both of us on the relationship.
Yeah.
And he was very specific about it. We were in different places in our lives, and he was never going to settle down. She was a serious scientist who also was going to want a commitment and a life that wasn't just at a dig site. You know, I think his trying to figure out how we do that, also given that we wanted the character to be somewhat of a feminist within this rather male-dominated construct of the action movie, and adding dialogue that supported her being a badass feminist, and and so that was important to me and to Stephen. So those were our conversations, which I really appreciated. We didn't rehearse; everything was in the moment. He loved us trying things. He loves making movies in such a delicious way, right?
That enthusiasm.
We were never not able to improvise or come up with a funny line.
Ellie's got that great line too about we can discuss what was it? We can discuss your gender politics in a crisis or something along those lines. It's kind of a throwaway line, but it lands so nicely, whatever it is.
Well, because he's like, and he's awkward about it, fucking Hammond, because you can tell him is probably like the old style kind of misogynist type, even though he's like a coward. So he's like, well, I'm and you're like, he doesn't want to say like man and woman. He's like, oh, I was going with you, and she's like, really, we're gonna talk about that right now? Like,
I love how interested Jeff Goldblum is in like what Lauren Dern and Sam has to say. I'm like, he just seems like a cool guy to hang out with.
He's very interested in what Laura Dern has to say.
Yes,
he
is.
Even asks Grant later on. He's like, "So you two are."
Yeah. Well, and he's gotten repeatedly divorced, which I think is a really funny detail. He's like, well, I'm always looking for the next Mrs. Malcolm.
I'm always looking for a future ex Mrs. Malcolm.
That's right.
Future ex. Yeah, but like no, it's just funny that like I don't know. I just feel like his personal life is a shit show in this. And he's just always fucking like creeping on fucking women at the bar, like trying to explain chaos theory, being like, the butterfly effect is, I just let me just touch your shoulder.
The butterfly flaps his wings, and you end up in my bed.
Has anyone ever tried the water drop test, like to pick up a girl?
Oh man,
before?
I couldn't possibly. No, it's not my vibes. But
I go the Sam Neill route and name my chicken after Laura Dern, which he did.
Yeah. I go the Sam Neill route and just pull out something sharp and use it to freak out a kid by slicing it around his belly.
Well, I love
That's a jump. I love that. That's like how you'd be like, oh, this guy. All right.
because in retrospect, it feels like autistic adult talking to autistic kid. Like the lack of connection there. He's like, because the kid's like, because he has no social skills and the kid has no social skills, right? So the kid's like, some of the random like chubby fucking kid that's like on the dig site or whatever.
Which is Chris Pratt, right?
So he's the kid
Is
just
it
like,
really?
oh.
Is that no?
Like raptors are so
It's a fan
cool,
theory.
and he's like, and so his lack of social skills is just like, like, oh, it's cool if they rip your stomach open with this giant claw that I found. That's cool to you, and the kid's fucking freaked out, and he's just blank stare at the kid to be like, listen, I don't do kids. It's like almost like a Larry David level of.
Yeah, they're just like, whoa, dial it back there a touch.
You think dinosaurs are cool? You think dinosaurs are all Barney? No, they're not. They're gonna rip you to shreds.
Yeah, it's pretty fantastic. One thing I want to get in. I forget how funny this is. There's some incredibly funny moments. And Sam Neill actually gets a really good one when he's developing like more affinity for the kids. When like they get to the electric fence and he puts his hands on it, and then it's like acting like he's getting shocked, and then like both the kids like freak out, and of course one of them thinks it's funny, one of them thinks it's not funny at all, but like as an audience member it's hilarious, especially for the first time. I lost my shit when I saw that for the first time.
And I like that these are both billionaires kids, or multi-million grandkids or whatever, right? Like they're kids that are like out of touch with the common folk, I guess, right? Like they're like,
and that manifests differently for each of them. Right.
Yeah.
I mean, like one of them kind of, she buries herself in the world of computers, and like one of them like esoteric knowledge. And but it makes sense because they're almost socially outcast to a certain degree by nature of their privileged position, the fact that they could be like kidnapped at any moment in time or whatever, right?
I also like that he keeps Hammond keeps kind of worrying about his grandkids. He's like, someone should go save my grandkids. And then every time he's like, are the grandkids okay? But then he goes back to whatever he's doing. He's like, oh right, the grandkids, are they good? Has anyone rescued my grandkids?
Anybody heard from them?
The grandkids, not my actual grandkid. Like
the grandkids. Usually the idea is as long as they turn up alive, it's probably going to be okay.
Do you want to do Cretaceous letterboxed, one-liners?
I would love to, Forrest. So of course, Letterboxd is a place for film, a social media site where people get to talk about film at, with, and to each other. The films they love, the films that they didn't love, the films that they hid away inside a Barbasol can and tried to scoot off the island for industrial espionage. Of course, all of this is best expressed succinctly. Everybody gets to have their say, not just the Siskel's and Eberts of the world. But yeah, keep it short, keep it succinct, work in your tight five. And of course, that allows us to throw these up on the screen, carefully selected so that we can react to them and show you these clever little bon mots. Nature will find a way, and so will we. These are the Letterboxd one-liners for Jurassic Park. It's no Carnosaur, but it's all right.
I like that though they did concede and give it 5 stars.
Yeah, it's 5 stars. It's fine.
They were like, "This is my bit," but Jurassic Park is still pretty good.
Yeah, Carnosaur is my jam.
Have any of you seen Carnosaur?
No,
it's bad.
Yeah,
it looked bad, so I didn't watch it.
Well, it came out the same year as this movie, and
yes.
It is.
Can you
the
imagine?
Special effects are very bad.
Oh. Can you imagine? Our dinosaur movie's finally coming out, fellas.
or you could imagine a Jurassic Park style plot where someone's doing corporate espionage, and because they weren't allowed to really talk about this movie, so someone from the set leaks it to somebody else who goes, "I'm gonna make my own dinosaur movie. I'm gonna really show that fucking Steven Spielberg," and then it's terrible. They make it terrible.
There's a Carnosaur 2 apparently too. Wow.
Yes.
My friend James Burns rated Carnosaur 5 stars, by the way, but he likes terrible things.
Carnosaur 2, Jurassic Boogaloo.
Got it.
I think we should give this dinosaur thing a chance.
No.
Next thing you know, you got like a dinosaur president. Like, look, this is who the Republican Party nominated. I don't think he's any different from like a Mitch McConnell. Like,
Yeah, he's a velociraptor.
It's like a velociraptor in a sweater vest with some smart looking reading glasses.
Romney Soar.
The T-Rex coming in clutch at the end will always go hard. Agree. That is objective statement of fact. That scene is like the and just to let you know, I know what I'm doing. Boom.
Well, and also, I think that there's a whole thing about like raptors really being the scary one, right? Like T-Rexes are fucking terrifying because they're big, but like raptors are fucking terrifying because there's multiple of them. They surround you, and they're willing to eat pretty much anything. Like I like that the raptors kind of get their due in this movie.
So why that works for me is that they spend a lot of time telling you about it, but then they show it to you, which is most of the last 30 minutes of the movie. They show you just how terrifying they are, to the point that, like, again, when I rewatched like whatever in 2020, I was like, I remember this being earlier in the movie and way longer because that's how much of an effect it made on me.
Really, I remember. I always remember it in the end because it's like they kind of get to safety, and then the raptors are like the last thing to worry about.
Yeah, well,
like,
I get it now. I'm just saying that's what I thought at the time. All right,
no, I know, but what I'm saying is like I always felt like it was almost like a predator style thing, right? Like the dinosaur, like they've defeated kind of all the dinosaurs, they've gotten to safety, and then it's like these are the actual dinosaurs that you have to worry about because they know how to fucking open doors, and they're fucking terrifying. And you're terrifying because one of them will come up to you. And they're like your size, but one of them will come up to you, and then the other two sneak through the back, and that's like the most terrifying thing. Between that and obviously the spitter, that fucking like those are the two most terrifying things. Like one because it's kind of cute and like just kind of jumping around, and then all of a sudden the fucking frill comes out. And I have a toy still. I have an action figure of that where you pull it and then it goes like I still have that somewhere in this house. But like those are the two terrifying ones because dinosaurs had some ways of like actually like adapting to shit that was pretty fucking intense.
But then I like also that Spielberg doesn't let you miss the scope and scale because like you get so tied up in like them trying to get them and like the skeleton collapsing, whatever, and then you just see like the T-Rex come and gobble one up like a cat with a mouse, and it's like, oh Jesus Christ, of course, yeah, and that's their rescue, right? And that's why it's a fantastic.
But also, I mean, T-Rexes are like kind of terrifying because they're big, but they're not like well, number one, I like the whole like motion thing where like when the T-Rex first comes, he's like, listen, if you don't move, they can't really tell you're there. Like this is not like a fully adapted dinosaur, right? Like this dinosaur survived because it's big. And I also like when I don't know, just like the arms, right? Like I feel like this movie started kind of T-Rex arms discourse where like they're not really designed. If you're not like right in its path, like you're kind of safe from a T-Rex. That is not the fucking case for velociraptors. That's not the case for something like the spitter. Like that's not the case for something more adaptable.
But it gives you the many moods of danger on Jurassic Park, in terminating one scene of one type of danger with another, and it's very exquisite.
All right.
Haha, unless they learned how to juggle. Cuts to velociraptors expertly juggling.
I think we're safe unless they learned unless they learn how to play cards, and then I don't know, they're unstoppable. You see fucking they're playing card Monty or whatever. Like
I like that they're doing a grifters game. That's great.
Yeah. Hey, I'm a velociraptor. Come on down and see the amazing 3-card velociraptors.
Lady, who's got the lady?
If you can find the ball, I won't eat you.
Yet another movie where I want to punt the children.
Won't somebody please punt the children?
Tough stance. Uber driver on the way home from the airport put this on. No conversation, just dinosaurs and vibes. 10 out of 10 experience. I agree. That would be awesome.
I like the idea of like they call an Uber and like an Uber driver pulls up at the last second and then sees the dinosaurs and is like, oh no, I'm out of here, and like speeds off.
That might be in the new one. How do I know? Those dinos wouldn't stand a chance against me.
Sure.
There was a lot of iterations of this one, but this is my favorite. Let's just pretend this is the only Jurassic Park movie featuring these wonderful characters and amazing dinosaurs. Testify.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, Aaron.
There's one more good one. There's one more good one.
And a whole bunch more that are just objectively terrible.
But like the other good one isn't much of inferior quality to this one.
I think they
It's a
should have gone
different
with
kind of
some-
movie.
I think they should have gone with some like straight to DVD Jurassic Park ones.
Like Carnosaur
Dinosaurs,
2?
Dinosaurs, wet and wild. Like call this number.
Would still go.
I think at this point in my life, yes. But like my answer to the Jurassic Park would you go question is like, how good is your life going? Like how much are you willing to risk to to see dinosaurs right now?
I think you
That's not risk at all.
overestimate people's capacity for understanding that they can die. A lot of people are not going to be thinking that far ahead.
This isn't my universal
Punch
answer.
my
This is
way out
answer.
of a T-Rex's stomach.
This isn't my universal answer. This is my answer for me. Like this is my answer to my answer.
You gotta approach it the same way you approach like buying a new piece of technology, which is you do not ever buy the first generation. You let those people deal with all the fucking bugs. They fix some things, and then by the time they do it the second time, and some people's faces have been seared forever by it blowing up or whatever, like now you can go because you know that they've rectified the like very obvious issues.
I'm not gonna go for the dinosaur shuffle. I think I'm gonna go for the dinosaur nano. When they drop
you let the people that do base jumping all the time go first, right? And then if they came back okay, then there you go. I strongly relate to Jeff Goldblum in this film because in this scenario, I too would just walk around being sexy and flirting with Laura Dern, then get injured at literally the first instance of danger, and spend the rest of the time lying dramatically on a table, still being sexy and annoying everyone with my top off this time.
Yeah. But he's truly like he's hamming it up. Like there's
oh yeah,
the level of ham
deliciously.
Yeah, like this is peak Jeff Goldblum, and this is peak Jeff Goldblum also because he's allowed to do his hemming and hawing, which is what he calls it. He's like, ha ha.
Yeah.
So the life finds a way. Lion is like it's classic because he's at his theatrical peak, and it works because his character is theatrical, and he's teasing about.
Sometimes I forgot he did The Fly.
Well, I have a theory about that Cronenberg actually did mix with his DNA in The Fly to get the effects to come out so good. And then they had to put extra Jeff Goldblum in him. So that way in this movie, he is just peak Jeff Goldblum. Like,
no, he's too much.
It's
He's
just
too
Jeff
much.
Goldblum
He's
playing
too much
Jeff
fly.
Goldblum.
We need to add 50% more hemming and hawing. Let's do this. And they add it. They're like, there he is. There's Jeff Gold. There's the guy I know that it takes a million years to get to the point. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Makes
I
sense.
also like in the Laura Dern when they're talking about Sam Neill's accent and the Vanity Fair thing, he's still ogling Laura Dern. Like
Yeah,
throughout
that's
like,
not, he's like just watching her. and doing
Relatable.
this, like,
most relatable thing on the planet.
Yeah.
Those are Letterboxd one-liners for Jurassic Park. Please follow the show. That's Newman over there. Moving Extravaganza. That's your host Forrest. They can you can see everything that the show covers over there following him. I of course am Conan, Dinosaur Wranglers Local 193 Neutron, and you can follow me along, highbrow, midbrow, everything kind of in between. Follow me, join me in the Criterion Challenge. The people have started doing that, so I'm inciting people to do that as well. I am on Letterboxd, and I am probably the most active one here. Tim Murphy over there, Christina is waiting for her next big idea, but you can follow her, of course. There is it Cosmopolitics. I can't.
I gotta change it. That's
Okay.
how long I've been on Letterboxd.
It's tagged on my list as well. Of course, Aaron Hit Factory. The Hit Factory account is you. I think it's Hit Factory Pod, if I remember correctly, right?
At Hit Factory Pod, that is me. Yep.
So follow Aaron on there. That's a great show. It's one of the only ones I listen to it and like. J. Andrew Velasco Raper, really? World?
Wait.
Did you want to say rapper? Because I was wondering about that this entire time.
I was like, that's a different movie, my dude. And I have no doubt that you've seen it because you watch all the weirdest stuff. So everyone else doesn't have to. Or maybe so they can.
This is me misspelling those
There's
dinosaurs.
dinosaurs. They're raping. They're bringing crime, and some of them, I assume, are good people.
Is watching all the weirdest stuff, and you can follow him as well on Letterboxd. J. Andrew World. I'm not going to say the nickname. Take it away with the plugs, please. Thank you.
All right, you're watching this on YouTube right now. Please do those YouTube things like, comment, subscribe, hit that bell. And the big ask is to watch the video to the end. You get a great Conan Neutron song out of it, and that helps other movie fans find our content. We're on various social medias. We're on Twitter. We're on Facebook. We're on Instagram. Those are the big ones. You can also find us a few other places. Not Mastodon. But
I can't remember my Mastodon password, my guy. I'm serious.
Yeah,
When
no.
I say that, I'm like,
I mean,
oh, really long.
I'm still posting on Mastodon and Hive, but whatever. I mean, it's just the show. Like whenever the show goes live, that's it. It's part of my show promo.
I think we got a Discord still, right? Does anybody use that?
I don't know. I'll have to check.
You guys really should consider doing like movie nights in the Discord, like on a Saturday or a Sunday. Watch the film or films.
That's what Jason did. Jason was counter programming us during Raiders. They were like watching stuff on their.
Oh yeah. Yeah. So
or I could be in charge of that. Who?
I hereby nominate you. Do we have a seconding?
Second.
See,
All in
yeah,
favor?
yeah.
Say aye.
Aye.
Motion carried.
See, she's not quiet quitting. She's getting more involved, Conan.
Big thing. We also have a Patreon. So the Patreon really does help us out. It gets us the ability to quiet quit like Christina did, or but what it does for you is you have access to our after parties forever.
After party. Yo, that's gonna slap when I had some of that Foley shit. Like I put a cantaloupe in there, like
rub a pineapple. Exactly.
So Conan.
Exactly.
Don't know what this is, but okay.
Good.
Are you ever going to have a Foley artist on Protonic Reversal?
Sure. Yes. Next question.
This week, right?
No Protonic this week. Heading out to the big shoe.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited for that.
And
Also,
I'm the only one not going from the podcast.
Amazing.
Also, kind of anxious to turn the old camera on for the first time in like a year and make sure it still works. I'm sure it does, but like I always have
low battery.
Yeah, well, I always just have that slight thing of anxiety because I've had my camera for like 4 years or whatever. I always have that slight thing of anxiety, like this is a Canon, so it's gonna last. But like, is it gonna last? Like,
yeah.
just FaceTime me, okay?
We're like, I'd be like fucking drunk at the show. I'm here with Sam Cedar, Christina. I'm here with Sam Cedar. He's got a message for you. The restraining order is lifted. Don't worry, I talked to him for you.
Right, come on, Velociraptor, take control of your bit. Let's go.
Yeah. No, I was having internet problems while this was all going on, so I don't even know what y'all are talking about.
It doesn't matter. Move on. I think we're still on my plugs, right?
Yes, yeah.
We're barely into
NeutronFriends.bandcamp.com. That's where you can get all of Conan's music. And you got
you
can
get some of it.
real copies. You can get on vinyl, you can get it on CD, you can get it digitally. However you choose to have your music sent to however you want to put it into your ear. Conan has it.
Yes, just like one of those bugs in Star Trek 2.
Yes, exactly.
Or a yerk from the YA novels Animorphs.
Wow.
That's a deep cut right there,
that's an Andy World level reference.
You guys didn't read that? Come on.
No.
Right.
But yeah, and you just announced Caterwall.
Caterwall 2023. Yes, that is correct. If you are interested in loud, noisy music and
I hope that's better than Coney 2012.
and either live in the Midwest or want to travel out to go see cool things, Friday, May 26th through Monday, May 29th in Minneapolis, Minnesota, caterwall.org. It was a blast last year. I am not going to try to do an episode of the show the second I come back, though. I'll tell you that much, but that's neither here nor there. Learned my lesson last year.
Yeah, and you got you're playing both as Conan Neutron and the Secret Friends and as
Action Chief's playing too. Yeah.
Yes.
A rare performance by the enigmatic and mysterious men of action, Chief. Such prima
Yes.
donnas.
There's gonna be a whole crowd. Solos. You're gonna get on stage.
Okay.
You're gonna end up getting booed because they're like, "There's not. This is something besides solos."
Wait, this is a bridge.
Not what we were promised.
But yeah, okay.
That's painful.
I think we got everything for you.
Yes. One down, 4 to go.
Christina, do you have anything coming up on your on Patreon not Patreon on your Twitch channel?
We're probably just gonna react to Hassan getting a haircut because the whole world just collapsed on itself because Hassan chopped off his hair.
What are you guys gonna do when I get one tomorrow?
Oh, what? Oh boy. Oh no.
Are you getting a nice? How short are you getting it?
Are you gonna get the wolf cut?
Is haircut reactions a thing? Is that a thing?
I don't know. We'll find out.
I'm gonna go live and react to Andy's haircut.
Okay. All right, watch for it, people.
So
whoa, there was hair and now there isn't. Whoa.
But
Christina's channel is very interesting. I feel like the whole when she's not dog sitting in the intro, always like, oh, really? God, I mean, it's an interesting channel.
Yeah. There's always something great conversation happening on her channel.
I mean, I'm all updated now that she's back. It was kind of because I kept kind of like fucking up, not knowing whether she's gonna be back on an episode or not.
Yeah, you're not the only one.
Yeah. So when she's not dog sitting, then I could be like, well, I guess this time she is.
Well, the good news is I'm dog sitting again, but guess what? This week until Monday, so we're good.
Oh, okay.
Works for me. And you have a coffee account. It's KOFI. This is a great way to support Christina. Buy her a coffee.
And and make sure that she gets her place at the United Nations.
Yes. Kofianon.org. Right.
Yeah, so we're taking that week off. Christina's gonna be dog city, I guess. Where our next episode is gonna be next Tuesday because we're all going to the live show.
Except for me.
But I just told everyone what you're gonna do, and you did too. But so yeah, like I think this is cool that it's we're taking this week break. I feel like putting out episodes every fucking twice a week has been I feel like that one meme where it's the dude like this like typing like fucking yeah.
Yeah,
we're doing the original Jumanji with Ray as the next episode, I think, right? And then Goonies with Francesca Fiorentini after that. And
oh my god, I finally get to be Francesca! Woohoo!
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
I think also Christina's like Twitch little sister Allie might come on for the.
Allie's coming on too. So
cool! Awesome. For on Tuesday, cool.
Yep.
I actually like those recent Jumanji movies, but this
I do want to before we get too far off subject, make sure we talk about Aaron's podcast.
Oh, that's a good idea. Plug the guest stuff, huh?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. What?
Yes. The Hit Factory is a great movie podcast, as Conan has said before, and I wish I listened to it more. When I do listen, it's like, dang, why am I not listening to this more? So.
I've listened to the Blair Witch Project episode like multiple times, and then we did our all of us did the Blair Witch Project episode, like a part 2 version of it. I think that was the first time you guys came on.
Yeah, Blair Witch Factory, I called it in our stream. It's available on our feed as well.
Yeah, but that was a really good. You guys like got real in depth about that, and I was like, damn, like I didn't like the cultural phenomenon of it. I'm like, yeah, this is like a fucking great description of that, like on a more like hypothetical level. Whereas then our conversation here is more on a, I'm not gonna say tactical level, but like the actual process of filming it and whatnot.
Yeah, we like overthinking everything and approaching it from like an analytical leftist perspective. We're kind of like if some Marxists took control of TBS's Dinner and a Movie.
It's a good pitch.
Yeah.
And you have anything coming up that people should know about?
Oh my gosh. Some big things in the works right now. I can't speak about too many of them. We've got some fun guests coming up, but I can tell you that in the next handful of weeks / month, we've got some big titles coming your way. We're dropping one later this week on David Fincher's The Game, which has moved up in my estimation considerably since our conversation about it.
Underrated movie.
We are going to be doing, for our Valentine's Day episode, and in conjunction with its theatrical re-release, a conversation about James Cameron's 1997 Titanic.
Oh,
So that one will be happening pretty soon with a very special guest. That one's going to be really fun. And then, yeah, just some other fun film chats and some cool guests in the works right now. And
Titanic is good. I will always say that.
I think Titanic is a masterpiece.
He could have fit on that door.
Yes, yes.
I'm just saying, like, he could have fit on, like, just logistically speaking, he could have fit on that door.
It
Like
wouldn't have
she
worked.
did him.
Wouldn't have worked. Wouldn't have worked.
Did him
for
dirty.
the-
She
They
did him
both were
dirty.
sank.
Okay, we're done with that. The Kronos and From Dusk Till Dawn were both episodes I really enjoyed from you guys this last fall. Really good. And like I said, I'm a regular listener, and maybe someday I'll be on. Hint, hint, hint.
Oh my, yes, absolutely.
We'll talk about the other thing too.
Hey,
Andy, is that it?
Yeah, I think the only other thing is just to remind people that this Sunday you can catch 3 of us at the Cutting Room in New York City, and you can see me yell at Sam Cedar for disparaging me on Ben Burgess' show on Monday. Because that motherfucker said I screwed up the poster, and it was Ticketmaster, not the poster. I got the poster was right.
It's gonna be a
Yeah,
hell
but
of a
also
weekend.
too, like mention the fact that he has to follow me back on Twitter because that's all I want. Anyway.
And Forrest is filming the event. I'm announcing the host, so it should be a good time. What's the link? Somebody should have given me the link. I don't even know.
It's the movie night extravaganza, but without the extravaganza.
I'm looking for the actual page to pull it up.
Yeah. I mean, I think most people probably know about it at this point, but just on the off chance that people don't.
So
enter
many
New York.
people that come into my chat this week were like, "Are you going? Are you going?" I'm like, "No."
Yeah, we should have like GoFundMe to something or Kickstarted or something.
Yeah, we'll do that for the next live show.
Didn't think about it. I didn't even think I was going to be involved until like a couple weeks ago. But anyway, whatever.
Woohoo.
So yeah, it's it's gonna be good. It's Jason Miles, obviously,
That's
and
not
Ben,
bad.
and David and Matt, and then they also have Sam Cedar. It's gonna be there. Emma Vigland, Bhaskar. There's like a whole list of people
Dave
that are gonna be there.
Griscom. Yep, should be great. That should be
It's
be
gonna
a
be Cuba, Deep State Cuba.
cool time. Who's
Yeah,
been on this show, right?
this
Hasn't he been on
is
this
a
show?
very.
He was
this is a
on
very-
the player.
Yeah, it's been a while. We need to have him back.
This is a very incomplete list. I think there's more people that but this is you get it on TicketWeb or you can get it on Ticketmaster, and these are the tickets. You should if you're in the New York City area, you should go on Sunday. It's at the Cutting Room.
Yeah, and you can get original art from me that I will be making there. So there's the pitch.
There you
Yes.
go.
Yeah.
When he's done yelling at Sam Cedar for some perceived slight.
My name is Jay Underworld, and I have grievances. But I want to jump to Aaron to ask about final thoughts. Jurassic Park. A million things to say. We got to a good amount of them. I mean, I'm sure we could do like we could do a whole fucking series on Jurassic Park. I'm sure, but
Why does Andy have a nunchuck? Anyway, whatever.
Who's got a nunchuck?
Why would
Good question.
I got a
but-
katana up there. I'm the one to talk. It's fine.
We've all got our weaponry just off screen here somewhere. That we
We're a well-armed
I
show.
got a cane
That's
and a
right.
bat back there. So
Exactly.
That's
So
right.
I'm not going to say who we're going to flex on, but we're ready. Go ahead.
Final thoughts on Jurassic Park. I think Jurassic Park is a blockbuster masterpiece. It's one of Steven Spielberg's finest hours. It's a film that captured my imagination right at the perfect time when I was about 3-4 years old and had just really started getting into movies. I was like little Sammy Fableman watching The Greatest Show on Earth in that theater. And just totally sparked my entire love of movie making and film in general. And I think you should all revisit it if you haven't seen it recently. And if you did just watch it recently in anticipation for the show, go watch it again anyway, because it has excellent replay value.
It really does. It really does.
Yes.
all right, Conan. Final thoughts.
Yeah. This film innovates in a way that few do and doesn't even look remotely dated, doesn't feel remotely dated. Once again, I want to point out that there were kind of some snickers when this came out about Spielberg's dinosaur movie because it just hadn't been done. Everyone was like, well, Last Action Hero was going to be the one. It wasn't. like many children, I too had an obsession for dinosaurs, and so I was certain I was going to watch it no matter what, right? But I saw it in the theater. I was lucky enough to see that with like that crazy new sound system thing they were doing, and I knew I was seeing something special. You know, some movies are big, some are great, and some change everything, and that's one of the cases here. Goldblum's at his finest. Sam Neill's the exact right actor for the role. Laura Dern's killing it in this. There's so many like cool quotes and things, and again, I know we all know it, but your scientists were so preoccupied with whether they could, they didn't stop to think if they should. I feel like I just say that at like half the news items I read. For like, hey, we made this robot that is powered on human blood. Why would you do that? Why?
Or when they make fucking the lab meat, and they show like the picture of the fucking meat they made in the lab, and it's like, yeah, maybe we should have thought this through a little bit.
Anyway, this is the timeless classic at pounds harder than a T-Rex in a lobby.
All right, Christina, final thoughts.
This is probably the greatest dinosaur movie of all time. When it comes to like the effects and whatnot, this movie still holds up when it comes to all that compared to Marvel and a bunch of other films that just rely on digital like CGI and whatnot. Like you can do practical effects and you can mix all the different types of effects to make a really great film. And this is one of those really, really great films. And it's a film that stood the test of time. The sequels can't compare. Highly recommend this film. Like if you're into dinosaurs, like this is a film that you can watch with the kids. So
I like that this his work with practical effects in this went a lot better than Jaws, which they just kind of threw the fucking animatronic shark into the water and it fucking short circuited, and they're like, oh no. It's like,
I'm breaking the glass.
Yeah.
It's no Carnosaur 2, that's all I'll say.
but which Jaws has withstood the test of time too, obviously, but like,
that's great.
It's despite the animatronics, not because of them. And I think in this case is because of the animatronics, not despite them.
Jaws 3D maybe less so, but anyway.
But Andy, final thoughts.
I know the one thing we didn't get to talk about was Phil Tippett was originally supposed to do the scene where the Tyrannosaurus was chase the car, because that was obviously done with computers. But just imagine after watching Mad Gods, a dinosaur chasing the car in that style, and that's. But the story behind it was there was a couple of like young guys who were developing the technology that they ended up using to do a lot of the CG in the movie. And Phil Tippett saw it and was just like, this is better. This is better than what I was going to do. And they basically had him, had those the young guys who were working on the movie to actually do that part. And I think he ended up working with him on Starship Troopers, if I remember correctly.
Nice, another classic.
So yeah, but yeah, that's my favorite thing about the thought exercise of the Phil Tippett car chase sequence would be amazing. However, the one we got is much better than what Phil Tippett could have done.
All right. Well, I have one more bit that I wanted to try out before we end, but my one bit is I'd like to see a Seinfeld crossover with Jurassic Park where Newman comes back and he is the same fucking character from Jurassic Park, and you get like a Kramer like investing in like Jurassic, like he's one of the Jurassic Park investors somehow, like he gets money from like his dead uncle or something, and then you get Jerry,
Dinosaurs Jerry.
But you get Jerry at the very beginning being like, dinosaur cloning, have you heard of this? And he's like, I didn't know we needed to bring them back. We have enough stuff, and like doing the whole bit at the very beginning, like, what's the deal with dinosaurs? And then, so I'd like to see that crossover. I'd like to see a Seinfeld Jurassic Park crossover coming out, sometime soon. I would rather see that than whatever Chris Pratt's putting out.